eventually now, very soon, you're going to be, along with your mother, you're going to be drafted into some forced labor. Talk to us about that.
Okay, my mother went there first. And when I was 15, I was permanently suspended from school, and I was told because of my Jewish mother, I'm no longer allowed to come to school. And it was just 2 months later that I was also drafted into forced labor, and I was blessed to be working with my mother in the same place. We worked 10 hours a day, very, very heavy labor, and it was very difficult for us. But we thank God that we were still at home and relatively free. But that freedom did not last long, because one fine day, January 7th, 1944, the Nazis came and they picked up my mother, and I was left alone.
How did you feel when that happened?
I was devastated. I was devastated that they took her. But I was grateful that Christ had come into her life, and that someday, and I know I was allowed at least to ride in the police wagon with my mother, with the guards, and but when I said goodbye to her in front of the door of the old synagogue, the only one that wasn't burned in 1938, at least I knew she was saved.
Actually, you and your friends were going to sneak into somehow.
That was the following evening, yes.
Yeah, you were going to sneak in and bring her a bathrobe and
a pink bathrobe,
some other things that you wanted her to have before she went off to the camp.
Yes, right.
Yeah,
that's correct.
And did you get that to her?
It got to her through somebody else.
But this was going to begin about 7 months for you. You were going to be on your own.
Yes.
But it was going to be an incredible time of God providing sort of one miracle after another.
And the greatest miracle was that I still was working, doing forced labor, had very little money, couldn't buy food on the black market, and yet I said to the Lord, I've got to keep my mother alive. They were allowed to receive food packages in Theresienstadt in Czechoslovakia, and so I parted with much of my food, and I prayed and I said, Lord, I need you to keep me strong. And he did. I mean, I was literally living on practically next to nothing, and yet I never lost an ounce of weight. I remained strong. I had enough energy. And at one time during those 7 months that I was alone, I had a strange notion not to send my mother the dark German rye bread that I usually enclose because it's so nourishing. I always say it was solid like a rock. You could almost sit on it. That one morning I got up and I said, I'm going to the bake shop and I'm going to get Zwieback, which is toast. And I'm going to send that to my mother instead. And 2 weeks later, I got a card from her, and she said, I was praying every night next to my cot, asking the Lord to help you to send me Zwieback instead of the dark bread, because she was stricken with dysentery and couldn't eat the dark bread. And I thought, wow, what a fantastic miracle.